if you're in London, not only is driving in London horrible, but the people in London don't drive very frequently, so they also hate driving.
Yeah.
And so you get this kind of feedback effect where central London basically creates non-drivers.
Yeah.
Because I imagine if you haven't driven for 3 months and you take the train to Reading and you pick up a car from Avis, okay, the first hour of your driving, even if you were previously a reasonably experienced driver, is pure tenterhooks. And so what's interesting is once you move out of London and you drive every day, if only to the station, okay, it becomes system one and it becomes a flow state.
Yeah.
And actually, one of the interesting things about research into happiness, when they look at people's sort of happiness and well-being minute by minute, is how much people enjoy driving, which is something, by the way, which I don't think the driverless car movement has fully clocked, which is that we like a feeling of control.
Yeah.
So where is the driverless car movement centred? Well, it's in Silicon Valley, which has the worst traffic in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, the driverless car movement in, let's say, if you live on the west coast of Scotland or on the A9, you know, where driving on empty roads is probably a sheer delight. Not quite the same benefit, is it?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I'm very pro car. I mean, I co-wrote a book with Pete Dyson, who is a cyclist, but he's actually a very keen and very, very able triathlete. And it was interesting because I'm very pro-car, but I live outside London. He tends to be anti-car.
Yeah.
But we reached a very, very good accommodation, which is, look, what we need to do in behavioural terms is simply increase everybody's repertoire of different transport modes. So that, in other words, their use of transport is less habitual and consequently more intelligent. And I've got a very simple solution for that. I think you should put the annual car tax disc. Okay, here's an even better idea. You introduce road pricing,
Yeah.
okay, but you get 50% of the money you spend on road pricing back in public transport vouchers.
Okay.
Okay, or you make the tax disc £300 a year, but you get £400 of rail vouchers. Now, you'd make an exception for people in West Wales and the north of Scotland where the public transport's kind of hopeless.
Yeah.
But what that's doing is saying, no, it's absolutely fine to use the roads, but it's not fine to use the roads to the exclusion of anything else.
Yeah.
You should at least be familiar enough with rail travel to see it as an alternative and part of your repertoire rather than just defaulting to the norm.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no right answer, right? If I'm going to Manchester, do I drive or do I take the train? Well, it depends how much luggage I have, how many of us are going, what's the weather like, what time of day do I need to travel, how long am I staying for, okay?
Yeah.
If I'm staying for one night, Uber basically replaces the need to have your car there. If you're staying for a week, you're going to drive.
Yeah.
Okay, there aren't right answers to any of these things. And so the dogmatic people who say you must shift from mode A to mode B, failing to take account of people with buggies, people with young children, all kinds of reasons, bad weather, etc. But what you can reasonably say as a good aspiration for a transport policy is to get more people to actually experience more modes.